Hello again, and welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is Jesse, and I am back for another channel update video. 2024 is already starting to kick off with a lot of things happening, believe it or not. So, a few things that I want to cover in today's video. I usually do these channel update videos at least once a month, sometimes a little bit more frequently if there are interesting things happening in the world of gaming, accessibility, technology, whatever it happens to be. But I might do another one of these sometime later this month, depending on what all is announced, because Microsoft is holding another Xbox event late next week. So I am curious to see what becomes of that. They already said that they're going to have their first gameplay footage of the Indiana Jones game, which I am kind of curious about. I'd like to see kind of what that's maybe going to be. I'm not quite sure what other games they are going to cover, but we'll talk maybe a little bit more about that later. But yeah, 2024. I can't believe it's 2024 already. Wow. Before we go any further, I do just want to give people a reminder. If you are new to the channel, I do unlock videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, sometimes more frequently if there is a key game that comes out or an accessible app or event or something that I just have to talk about. An event, but maybe it's a holiday, but whatever, sometimes there'll be a bonus video. But Monday, Wednesday, and Saturdays are typical video days. And everything is divided into playlists. So if you are new here, I cover a lot of gaming stuff. I have playlists for low vision spotlights, which are games that I play with my remaining vision as a legally blind player. I have accessible game spotlight videos for PC, Mac, and console. So there's playlists for those, and those are games that can be played by people with no usable vision whatsoever. They are self-voicing or screen reader accessible, whatever. Hardware reviews, assistive technology videos, game accessibility, VR accessibility, some geeky collectibles, my Geek Loot Spotlight playlists, a couple Let's Plays here and there, although I haven't done those lately. That's not really the focus of my channel. But yeah, assistive technology, iOS apps, a little bit of everything. So definitely check out the playlists section of the channel, and hopefully you'll find something interesting there. As far as recent videos, it's, I took a recent break to go see family for the holidays, but, the channel just kept on going over the holidays. I have my 2023 wrap-up videos out now. So we cover everything from mainstream games, blind accessible games, some of my personal highlights, upcoming games for this year I talk a little bit about, and of course retro first person shooter goodness, because that is one of my favorite genres. That is my jam. And boy, there are a lot of them out and a lot of them still coming out. And I say keep them coming because they are fun. And on a similar note, I've called them retro shooters. People call them boomer shooters. People call them, a lot of different things. I guess in the last week or so, Steam has officially added the tag boomer shooter. There's a lot of these descriptive tags that, label genres or types of games, action, adventure, horror, whatever. Boomer shooter, apparently Valve has added as a term. So, I guess they're officially kind of being called boomer shooters then. Retro shooters, boomer shooters, whatever. I don't really care. People say it's boomers, the whole younger people insult for older gamers. But a lot of people also say, boomer shooters is like you got your boomstick, you got your shotgun, which is your workhorse weapon. The boomstick is definitely my favorite type of weapon to run around in, whether it's a single barrel, double barrel, quad barrel, whatever, man. Shotguns rule in these games. So yeah, definitely more first-person shooter goodness to come. I actually just got my Reload Magazine issue 2, and it's available digitally as well. But yeah, looking forward to see what they come out with next. And I've already seen some videos for some upcoming shooters. So yeah, there's a lot to look forward to. As far as other channel updates, like I said, I have my end of year videos. I have, thank you to Max again for the copy of Talented in early access right now. Fun little game. I've already started playing House Flipper 2. Got pretty hooked on that. It was just one of those relaxing type of games, you know, where I can listen to podcasts, listen to audiobooks, what have you. And I've put a lot of time into that even since I've gotten back from my little break. Um, Tekken 8 demo, I'm really. The core game is great. Like, it runs good, it looks really nice. But, you know, like I said in the video, with Street Fighter 6 and especially Mortal Kombat 1 last year, it's kind of disappointing to see not quite so many accessibility features, especially no menu narration. Even some of the colorblind filters that they have actually been causing some people problems. So we'll see what happens when the game launches later this month. I did some free screen reader curriculum content. I covered a video on that. So, you know, again, people have your New Year's resolution. Good Lord. Um, New Year's resolution. There we go. You know, maybe you want to learn a new skill. Maybe you want to get better. Maybe you want to better prep so if you're blind or visually impaired, you can go back to school. You can get that job. You can, you know, again, be more independent, be more productive. There's a nice little set of free screen reader training out there through the California School for the Blind. And it covers everything from Windows screen readers like JAWS and NVDA to VoiceOver for Mac, iOS, Chromebook. Check that site out. You might check out that video. Maybe it'd be helpful for you. I did look just out of sheer curiosity. I was curious if we would get to 4,000 subscribers. We're not quite there yet, so we didn't make it before the new year, but we are under 50 subs away from 4,000. So you know what? I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm happy with that. You know, we'll just keep on going into 2024. And yeah. Also, I do just want to give a thank you to everybody who has been leaving comments, I've gotten a few emails recently, people just saying, you know, hey, I like your videos. I discovered it through this video or that video, and they've had a couple of questions. I try to reply to those messages. But yeah, I mean, thank you to everybody for your support. Very, very appreciative of that. And like I said, I can't believe I've been doing this for over 10 years and it's still going. So yeah, whether you've been here for 10 minutes or 10 years, thank you to everybody. Before we go into like the techie stuff, like I said, I was on vacation through a few days before Christmas until right around New Year's. Actually, I got back New Year's Day because I started work on the 2nd. But overall, it was kind of just what I needed for the most part. It was actually really fun, really relaxing. Got to see my parents, my family. Got to hang out with my brother. He got a new place, and so I crashed at his place for a couple nights. Got to hang out with him and his new wife. They got married last year, so that was really a lot of fun. But yeah, I just got to see some family, some friends. Unfortunately, around Christmas Eve, I did sort of get some sort of cold flu T-virus thing. I've gone so long, man, like with this teleworking and not having to ride the bus all the time. It's been so nice now. I'm like, man, I gone like 3 years without a cold or without any sickness. Of course, I get the plague over the holidays. And yeah, unfortunately, it seems like I gave it to my brother eventually. I guess my mom got it. I don't know. I haven't talked to her since. I don't know if my dad got it, but yeah. So I felt pretty crappy Christmas Eve. Um, Christmas Day felt a little better, but it wasn't super good. But it was still fun. Like I said, it was still relaxing. Really didn't do much. And, when you're in the middle of nowhere, what else is there to do but drink? So, yeah, there was lots of alcohol to be had. Lots of brandy. Brandy and 7 Up, or E&J Brandy and 7 Up, or Mountain Dew. Yeah, I've had those combinations. Yeah, pretty tasty stuff. Anyway, got through most of that, sweated some of that out. But yeah, it was a fun vacation. And then toward the end of it, got to see a friend of mine. Got to hang out with him for a couple days. And one thing that I never thought I would get to do, it was definitely an interesting experience. I'm sure you've probably heard over, you've seen these, recliners that have little back massagers in them. You can even get like cheapo ones you can kind of, throw over the back of your recliner. They're not really that good. They're not that powerful. But a friend of ours, my friend, he goes, "You got to check out this chair." He's told me about it for like the last 2 years now. And so I was at his place, and he's like, "You got to go check out our friend, other friend's chair." And it's not even a recliner. This thing is like some sort of like, you look at it and it's like some crazy like medical chair device thing, but it is, what is it, like this $16,000 massage chair, and it is crazy. Like, you get into this thing, you're just enveloped, and you can recline, you can sit up, you can recline. It's not soft, really. It's, you're not going to use it as like a regular chair. You're going to sit in this thing when you want to go through some sort of, they got all kinds of different, like, what do you call them? Like different types of massages. There was like a stretcher one that I tried where it kind of stretches you out and everything. There was a Swedish, like a Swedish massage type of thing. That one was actually my favorite. That one really got in there. That was pretty cool. But man, like, you sit in this thing and you kind of recline back, and like the arms, even you put your arms inside of the arms of the chair, and it uses these little airbag things as part of the deal. And so it'll, it kind of pressurizes and it like squeezes your wrists and your arms. And it felt weird at first, but it actually felt really cool because, like, I probably have a little bit of touch of, maybe a little bit of carpal tunnel in my right hand for so much, computer mouse use and stuff like that. But like, I noticed, like, my right hand, I noticed that I always have my hand a little bit kind of curled a little bit, not fully straight or whatever. When I stretched my fingers out, you could kind of feel it a little bit more. But just going through that thing like once or twice, yeah, man, it felt really, really cool. But I mean, it does all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, it massages the bottoms of your feet, your legs, the calves of your legs, your back, your butt, your neck. It's got some like a little weird like twisty thing, so it like moves you side to side a little bit in a way to kind of realign your back. There is all kinds of crazy wizardry stuff, so I totally understand why it is ungodly expensive. It's not something that I would ever own, but yeah, man, I think if I could, have a few more days, a few more sessions in that bad boy, I could unkink my back a little bit, fix my wrists or something. But yeah, that was just a really neat experience that I just wanted to quick blab about, because yeah, man, I've never sat in a, what do you say, like a $16,000 massager chair. I'm like, damn, that is expensive. But yeah, I got to experience that, and I will probably never experience that again, but it was cool. So yeah, I mean, the vacation was good. T-virus/plague aside, I'm mostly the way through it. I largely feel back to normal. The only real thing left is sometimes or occasionally I'll still have a little bit of a coughing fit. And my left ear, it's happened before, so I'm not worried about it, but my left ear is still rather quite plugged. So my hearing is all kind of lopsided. It seems like it's like the last day and a half or so, it's kind of on the verge of wanting to pop, and I cannot wait until it does, because it's starting to drive me nuts. I want to be able to hear again. But other than that, everything is going well. Had a fun vacation. Got back to work after the first. And thankfully, even living up in Minnesota, it's been a very, very mild winter so far, at least where I live. Even back visiting home, they had a little bit more snow than we did, but they really didn't have that much either. We had right around Christmas Eve, of course, holidays. It was more of like a sleet snow kind of a thing. So it was extremely icy throughout the state, and thankfully we really didn't go anywhere Christmas Eve. By Christmas Day, it kind of let up a little bit, and so it wasn't near as bad. We had Christmas at my brother's place, and he did a fantastic job. Lots of good food. Thank you, man. It was awesome. But yeah, I mean, the weather, there's not a lot of snow on the ground. And I got back down to the cities here, and it's like, oh yeah, we barely got anything on the ground. We got a little bit of a dusting the other day. I guess a little bit further south in the state, they got walloped pretty good. They got 6 to 10 inches, but thankfully, yay, we didn't even get an inch of snow, I don't think. So we're rather unscathed, and we're into January. So even if we do, like, I'm not saying we're through it. Mother Nature could decide to just get angry, and we still have February, March, and even April to a degree. We're not out of the woods yet, but even if I look at it this way, even if we do get slammed with ice and snow and super cold weather, which we're supposed to get super cold weather this weekend, even if we do, we are already, last year we just got slammed with, it was like the second highest snowfall. It was like the second highest record ever for the state. So, yeah, compared to last year, this year is a picnic. But they started that in like October last year, and so almost midway through January, even if we have to put up with some bad weather, we don't have to do it for near as long. So I'm okay with that. Bring on the spring, bring on I like to wear shorts outside again. I don't like to bundle in layers and worry about slipping on ice and all that nonsense. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what's been going on here. I've already got a couple of videos recorded, a couple of videos lined up that I want to release to you guys soon. There's one video for the Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, that's coming out later this month. I'm under embargo. I can't release that to you guys just yet. But when we are allowed to, I will have a video taking a look at the accessibility of that game. Thank you to Ubisoft for the early review code. Yeah, and like I said, there's just I'm sure there's a lot of games coming out. There's a lot of games that are still on my backlog that I need to get back to. That I want to do videos for. So there's plenty to go. There's plenty of content to go. And there's a few accessible games that I really want to take a look at yet that I just never got around to last year. So yeah, there's plenty of content to come out. So no worries about that. As far as, like I said, games this month, I want to say Graven is coming out of early access, so I definitely want to take a look at that. That is a cool game. I think I've done a video for that in early access quite some time ago. Like I said, we got Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, and it's a 2D Metroidvania version of it, and it's pretty cool. There are a little bit of low vision issues, but I can't really say much more about that than that, so wait till the video for that. Tekken 8, I guess, is coming still later this month, and again, like, it's a really cool game. I wish it had a little more accessibility than it did. I don't know if any more features will be added for launch or post-launch compared to what was in the demo. So we'll see. If anything, if I don't get a review code for that, I will just wait for a sale probably and pick it up eventually. The other thing that I'm sort of confused about is under Steam it says like full English audio, but there are some characters that I think they just natively speak Japanese, and so they don't just dub them. And I wish they did, because especially if you have the story mode, um, I would like to be able to understand what they say, because I can't read subtitles fast enough. And in the demo, they had their little arcade mode type of thing where you're challenging people in the arcades. And unfortunately, a lot of that dialogue is text. So, yeah, I mean, I have really mixed thoughts on Tekken so far. So we'll see what happens with that. I know, like, February through, like, May, I want to say, like, March, there's going to be a load of games coming out. I know there's some spell where we're going to just get lots and lots of stuff. So, it's coming. Are we going to get a new Switch announcement? Is it going to launch in 2024? I don't know. I would have to almost assume that Nintendo has to say something pretty soon, no matter when they decide to release their new system. There's been a lot of rumors that it's going to be basically like an upgraded Switch. They're not going to do anything radically different, which I'm perfectly fine with. Keep the form factor. Please, please, please make the Joy-Cons more ergonomic. Don't make them super tiny. Make them so that a regular human being can actually hold them without, contributing to carpal tunnel, and just because the Joy-Cons are not comfortable. They're not, unless you're maybe a little kid. But hopefully it's backwards compatible. I really, really hope it is. I hope we still get the same like Switch Online stuff, and we don't have to rebuy or re-wait for them to release the same classic games over and over again. They've only done that 17 times so far over the last decade and a half. Just release your classic games already. Really, guys, come on, make it happen. And frankly, I just want them to announce it, because I'm sick of the rumors. I'm sick of articles, tweets, podcasts, videos. Oh, did you hear the latest rumor of Nintendo? I think they're going to do this. I think they're going to, I don't care. Just let Nintendo announce what they're going to announce. Let them do whatever. And then we can react to it after that. But it's kind of like Apple. It's like, I think there's going to be another iPhone in 2029. You think? Of course there is. So yeah, I'm curious, and of course, the elephant in the room as far as this channel is concerned, will Nintendo finally wake up? Will Nintendo add more core accessibility features to their console? They have some button remapping. They do have the zoom feature, the magnifier, which I very, very much like, and I use all the time when I use the Switch, in and out of games. But will there be a screen reader? Will the eShop be able to be navigable with the screen reader? These are things that I and many, many other blind vision impaired users desperately, desperately want, because they're one of the last places to do it. Sony's got it. Microsoft has got it. Granted, Sony needs to learn what alt tags are for images. They still haven't fixed that in like 3 years. They need to learn how to label their images in their store and on their dashboard. But the screen reader works. Microsoft, they've been doing the screen reader thing pretty well for quite a while. There, we just need to get more blind accessible games is what we need on Microsoft's side. And I did, just last night as I'm recording this, I don't know that I'm going to do a video for it right now. We'll see. But I did try Sea of Thieves a little bit last night, because it's on Game Pass, and I got it for the PC. And, I will definitely give the credit to the developers. They have added lots of accessibility features post launch. Like I don't remember even when Sea of Thieves originally came out, like 2018, 2019, something like that. Um, a lot of their updates have included little accessibility features and updates. Um, but as far as blind accessibility goes, and even low vision accessibility to a degree, like I said, maybe I'm missing something, but oddly, there's no accessibility menu. There's just options that are that are in the different other menus, and there's a couple of features that I thought I heard about, like a audio aim assist mode for blind players, but I didn't see that in the options, so I don't know where that is. But even when I was doing some research last night, it looks like, for blind players, they're like, well, it's much easier if you're a part of a crew. And a blind player, it's like, well, a lot of blind players will stick to the ship. Though they can fire the cannons, they can steer, they can do a little other odds and ends on the ship, but they can't really necessarily go independently on an island, to go slash skeletons and get treasures and stuff. And that's the part that, like, honestly, that's the part that I'm looking forward to the most. Like, I want to wander around and, fight skeletons and like the ship stuff. I'm not as much into that. But like, going to get the treasure and looking caves and all that kind of stuff. That's the stuff on foot that I'm more interested in. So we'll see what happens with Sea of Thieves. I'll poke at it a little bit more. I don't know if I'm going to do a video or not, but yeah, I mean, I was sort of thinking that there was a little bit more accessibility than there actually is for blind players. But I do very much appreciate they added the Safer Seas update last month, which is, instead of being in a public, live service environment where you just have randos and everything, that can come and attack you, the Safer Seas is a private match where I can solo, or I can have only just the friends that I invite, and then we can go on the seas together. That I was really waiting for, because that's a game where I just didn't want to deal with randos and all the shenanigans that go along with that. So I really like that they've added the Safer Seas, and I really like that they've added a lot of accessibility features. There are some still oddities that I at least so far see, but I need to devote some more time before I make a real more of a conclusion. But yeah, so I'm kind of checking that out. Like I said, I've been playing a lot of House Flipper, catching up on my reading, catching up on my podcasts, because God knows I've got a backlog of books. Holy Lord. It's kind of embarrassing how many I have, actually. But yeah, House Flipper 2 is quite good. I just released a video for that on about a week ago, if not less. So that's pretty fun. And then we have all the events that are happening right now or coming up in the near future. We did get confirmation of the Apple Vision Pro, their headset. They don't want to call it VR. I forget what do they call it? Not computational. Spatial computing. Oh, we can't call it augmented or virtual or mixed reality. No, we're Apple, so we have to call it our own thing, even though it's pretty much a combination of it's like a mixed reality headset. I mean, that's what it is. You have elements of VR, you have elements of AR, you can kind of combine them in some ways, it seems like, and that's basically what it is, no matter what Apple tries to spin. And the damn thing is really expensive, $3,500. And I'm not going to get one personally, but I may have an avenue. I want to see how things shake out at launch, because they did announce that you can pre-order as of next Friday, and the headset themselves are coming out February 2nd. So I kind of want to get an initial, hear what some reviews are. I really have no problem. I'm sure hiccups. I'm sure the hardware is fine, But what I'm really struggling to still understand, and I think what everybody is still struggling to understand, because Apple really hasn't told us jack, other than spinning it really weirdly and giving a couple use cases that, okay, that might be okay, they might be sort of cool, but are you really going to spend $3,500 for that? Um, the main question that I have, and that a lot of people have, is what what does this thing do? What are the use cases that are going to make me want one? Um, because a large part of it, to me, almost seems like a lot of the apps that are going to be there, at least to begin with, are going to be iPhone and iPad apps. So instead of holding something in your hand and using your phone or your tablet touchscreen, you're just going to be able to spawn a bunch of screens in midair and use tablet style apps or video apps or photos or some apps on your phone, um, that are going to be floating in front of you hands free, which there is some appeal to that, but again, is it $3,500 appeal? Maybe not so much. But on the other hand, I know they're going to have some other. They said there's going to be some like Fruit Ninja game. There's a couple of other games that sort of do a virtual reality type of thing, from what it sounds like. And if I remember correctly, this you don't get controllers with this by default. This is you're using your hands to control the device, and like hand gestures in midair. So I'm curious how well that's going to go, especially right away in their first edition or first revision of the headset. Um, Hand tracking, yeah, I don't know. But all that wondering aside, part of me is still very, very, very curious about this thing, because we do know it's going to have some built-in accessibility because it is Apple. I've already seen a little bit of video footage when they were doing, was it WWDC? No, it was after that. It was last fall when they unveiled it. I saw a clip where voiceover was being demonstrated, even in like an AR type of situation. They were demonstrating voiceover, so I'm confident that there's going to be at least a decent level of base accessibility in there. I'm assuming there will probably be some sort of a zoom feature. I'm assuming, a lot of the types of accessibility that you've come to expect from iOS, iPad OS, even Mac OS will be there to some degree in some fashion, and they'll have to, of course, adapt it because, spatial computing or mixed reality kind of has its own set of unique challenges, which I've talked a lot about in my VR accessibility videos. And then you combine that with, you're doing everything hands free, and I've heard mixed things, and I don't know which is true. But like if you can use iPhone and iPad apps, if I could just have this thing on my head and open up Be My Eyes or Seeing AI or Voice Dream Reader, Voice Dream Scanner, and I could just look at something and tell it to take a picture, hands free. There's some coolness to that. I could be looking at something, I could be doing some sort of a task, even using like a magnifier app, like using it as a head-mounted CCTV, like the Iris Vision or the Patriot. You know, I'm trying to do things with both hands, and wearing this thing on my head, I can more easily do things with both hands. If I'm putting something together, trying to move a device so I can read the serial number that's in a weird place. It's hard to, hold your phone and get that at the same time. Or even just be able to glance at something, look at what I need, and then look elsewhere, and then I can just, I have both hands free. I can look at those numbers and type them into my computer. There's a lot of low vision cases that I could really see again, having because if you're looking at again the Patriot or the Iris Vision, these are between 2 and 3 grand for these little smartphones put into a handheld VR form factor. And you're not really using those phones as phones really. You're using it as a CCTV. Where this, and this is what I've been sort of waiting for. This is what I've been talking about for the last few years. Things like the Envision glasses. They're neat, but they're proprietary. If Envision wants to partner with another app and include their functionality, okay, maybe they can. But if they don't, you're limited to what they have. But this Apple Vision Pro is its own platform, like iOS, like Mac OS, like iPad OS. So, assuming they don't put stupid restrictions on it, this is a platform, and if developers are able to make apps for it, like I said, I can put Envision on there. I can put Seeing AI on there. Be My Eyes. I could put Voice Dream Scanner. I could put, any number of magnifier apps. Even, I hope that they bring their iOS magnifier feature that I use every day. I already used it today on my phone. So if they bring that to the Vision OS, hell yeah, man. Like having a head-mounted CCTV, OCR, object identifier, there are some really potentially cool options. Now, again, hopefully they're going to have, a more affordable version in a year or two. But like I said, I may have an avenue of getting it through work once we find out a little bit more about it and see if some of these apps are going to work or will work. Because at one point I thought I had heard or I thought I had read shortly after they announced the device, I thought I read something or heard something to the effect of third-party developers weren't allowed to use the camera or the cameras on the device. So, they could do lots of other things, but like they couldn't, again, all these apps that I mentioned for accessibility, they use the camera, whether it's magnification, OCR, object identification, whatever it is. That's really one of the selling points, hands-free camera stuff. And I think it would be really dumb. I think it would be really stupid if Apple said, oh, well, you're an app developer. You can't use the cameras because we control all of that. Part of me says, Apple has done dumber things, and it wouldn't completely surprise me if they made that boneheaded decision. But I'm hoping that, especially with the attention that some of these apps are getting, like Be My Eyes with Be My AI. I mean, I'm in love with that thing. That thing is really cool. With the attention those types of apps are getting and with the buzz of AI, why would you block that? So I really, really hope they don't. And I want to get confirmation around the Apple Vision Pro launch. Like, if you're able to run iOS apps on the headset, can you run things like Be My Eyes? Because if you can, I am absolutely going to work on getting it through work, because even if it's not like a personal device for me, I will still have access to it, and I will play that. I will play with that. I will use the hell out of that thing to see what it can and can't do. So I'm going to get my hands on it somehow, sometime. I don't know when. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a video for it. As far as demonstrating it, I don't know how that will go, if that'll work. But at the very least, I will be able to do a video like this and tell you about it at some point. Who knows when, if and when. But that is the goal. That is the intent. Because again, Oculus has had, or Meta has had, how many chances to start putting accessibility in their devices. We have the Rift. We had the Quest 1, 2, and 3. We've had not the Vive. Well, we've had the Rift S. There was another high-end one through Meta, and I can't remember what it was called. So we've had 6 to 7 headsets in the last, 6 to 7 years. And as much as I and other people have been advocating and trying to bug Meta, they haven't done jack. They've made a couple statements, or they've had a couple minor rumblings about accessibility, but that's all it's been. It's either in the research lab or whatever, but it's none of it has come to consumer devices yet. I mean, to the point of, I did a video a while back at the recommendation of a couple of people through XR Access. Literally, the first step from taking one of the Quest devices out of the box, I was physically unable to do the first step to get it running. I had the app on my phone, and you were supposed to turn it on, look in the headset, and you get like a 4 to 6 digit number, and you were supposed to type those into your phone to pair. I knew exactly what I was supposed to do, but physically I just couldn't see well enough to read it. So I needed fully sighted assistance to be able to do that. And it's bad when literally the first thing that you have to do out of the box, you can't do. So yeah, that's why I have not, for a few years I was covering virtual reality quite a bit on the channel, because I had my Rift set up and I was playing with the Quest 1. But as much as I would love to get a Quest 3 and try Cosmonious High, which has some very, very nice accessibility features in it, unless Meta or somebody gave me a Quest 3, I'm not going out to buy one, because I'm not giving Meta any more money for a device that I struggle to use. Like, I can't go into settings. I can't read them. I can't use the onboard recording. So if I want to do an onboard video recording of an app or a game, just the simplest little things, I can't navigate the interface. It's guesswork and just going by memory or launching apps and things from the phone app and then letting them go. That's really the best prayer that I've had to use the Quest. Like, I love VR when it works, and I love the Quest and I love the Rift, but that's why I am so intrigued about Apple. And at least on some level, I want it to really succeed, because, just like before, Apple put VoiceOver on their Mac. Apple put VoiceOver in their iPhone 3GS. And then Android started doing it. Windows really started to beef up Narrator. Microsoft and Sony for their consoles. We got smart TVs and set-top boxes. Amazon for their Fire tablets, or their Kindles, or their Fire TV sticks. Like, I think Roku has something. So, because Apple really started doing it, I'm just hoping that, if anything, it will shame Oculus or Meta into saying, okay, we got to finally get this shit out here. We finally got to do something. And like I said, I'm hoping that with Nintendo, with everyone else, every other console making it, at the very least, I'm hoping they're at least shamed into doing something halfway decent for their new console, for blind accessibility, because they are woefully behind. So that's kind of my outlook as far as my thoughts on the upcoming Apple Vision Pro. It is all very expensive, and I still really wonder if a lot of this is solutions looking for problems. But at the same time, because Apple is going to include accessibility, I really, really want to try it. I really do. So a part of me really does, and I will find a way somehow in the next few months, hopefully, to make that happen. So yeah, VR is just in general has sort of been slowly, I don't want to say dying, but really taking a back seat. Sony released their PSVR 2 last year, which I've heard is a great headset, but Sony has done really fuck all to support it. I mean, a couple of games trickle out here and there, but like, yeah, they launched it, and then Sony's like, yeah, well, we launched it, but then we just sort of forgot about it and haven't really released much. They really should have released another Astro game because holy crap. Um, at least port the first Astro game to PlayStation VR 2 because, I have not played the VR version, but Astro's Playroom on the PS5 is phenomenal. The way they use, I mean, the visual look is cool in itself, but the way they use the haptics in that DualSense controller is really something. I did a video for it. It's it's by far the coolest game haptics thing I've ever experienced so far. And Sony doesn't capitalize on that. Even with the PS5 games, like some of it's a little gimmicky in some cases or whatever, but like other than Astro, there hasn't been like a really wow factor game like that. And I could think of all kinds of things you could do for blind accessibility. Spreading things out between speech and haptics. So I've talked about that before. But yeah, I mean, VR is kind of not been so much of a thing the last year or two. So I don't know what's going to happen going forward. I don't know if the Apple Vision Pro is going to inject some sort of life into that again, despite Apple not wanting to call it a VR or mixed reality headset. I don't know. But yeah, that's some stuff that's coming. This week we have the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas. I've kept up a little bit with that. And there's nothing super exciting that I've heard about so far. Of course, there's always a lot of TVs, there's always a lot of car stuff. There's a lot of gimmicky stuff out there that it's like, hey, look at this weird prototype. We don't know if we're going to make it an actual product or not, but look at all the weird things we can do. Like there's like this vibrating like haptic chair thing or thing that you put on your chair that I believe it's Razer is toying with. I don't know if it's going to be an official product or not, but that's just kind of a weird thing. Of course, you got all kinds of TVs. There's some company that's made this just obscenely big. I don't even remember what it is. Like it's over 100-inch TV, I think. Samsung is doing some sort of like translucent, like you can see through the TV, and then you hit a button and it brings up this like opaque panel behind it and then makes it black. I don't know. It's a weird take on a TV, I guess. And of course, with ChatGPT thing being a thing over the last year, everybody's like, "Hey, let's put AI into something. Hey, let's do this thing that we just did, but let's put AI into it." So there's a lot of that. There was this weird car thing, and I think somebody brought it out with they were controlling it with a PlayStation controller, which is really weird. But as far as gaming stuff goes, the main couple things that I can really think of, and because of course they did, everybody's talking Intel, AMD, even Nvidia. They're talking about new processors, new video cards. Nvidia, they are releasing the Super line of their 4000 series. So I have the 4070 Ti. Well, now we have the 4080 Ti, the 4080 Super, the 4070 Ti Super, and 4070 Super. So basically, they're like the 40 series cards. I think they just put a little bit of more RAM in them, or they put, a little bit of spec bump, but keep them. So they're a little bit better than the card that I have, but Yeah, they're going to replace the last year's cards, so instead of the regular 4 series base cards, you're probably going to start seeing at the, beginning of February, end of January, um, these new super iterations of the 40 series. So, I mean, I'm fine with it. Like, I'm very, very happy with my machine. I love my computer here. Um, I love this thing. So, yeah, new video cards, new processors. What else? MSI is making their own little Windows handheld. Oh, they're going with an Intel processor, which all these other ones have been going AMD. But they're claiming a bigger battery, and they're going with Intel. But we're getting everybody's doing the whole Steam Deck thing. Everybody's doing their handheld gaming PC, which is fine, which is great. Um, and as much as I love my Steam Deck OLED, again, Steam, Valve, and their lack of accessibility. Um, Part of me really wants to get a Windows handheld, but I really got to talk to somebody at Microsoft, and I do have in contact, so I need to start rattling some cages over there because there needs to be controller equivalents to keyboard shortcuts for things like turning on and off narrator, or for turning on magnifier and zooming in and out, panning around. Um, if they can do that, like for a device that doesn't have a QWERTY keyboard, if all you have is two analog sticks and your controller buttons, your face buttons, your L and R buttons, your D-pad, whatever, if they can make narrator and magnifier easily usable from that type of UI, oh God, yeah, I will definitely be getting a Windows handheld at some point because I have a shit ton of Steam games. And if I can play them and I can do more stuff within Windows and have even narrator or NVDA or, magnifier, just be able to quickly turn those things on and off and control them with that sort of form factor, yes, please. Yes, please, because unless Valve decides to finally wake up, once that happens, goodbye Steam Deck. We're going back to Windows because at least Microsoft does some stuff with accessibility. But really, I mean, there's not a lot else that I know of through CES. I mean, there's weird stuff, there's TVs, there's car stuff, there's the usual. I mean, it was, well, over 20 years ago now, but I did get to go to CES one year in, I believe it was 2001. Our tech group in college went down to it, and it was pretty cool, just seeing, like, this was cool because it was right around when DVDs were starting to get really popular, and HD TVs were starting to really become a thing. I still remember walking up to a big HD TV, and they had Terminator 2 playing on it, and the clarity. There was the future scene where the robots were fighting. They were blasting each other with lasers, and it was just the sharpness, the vividness of the robots. And I'm like, whoa, okay, yeah, HD is totally gonna be a thing because this looks freaking incredible. I still remember seeing that Terminator scene on an HD TV in Vegas. But it was funny because we had gone down a few days early, and so my friend and I, we were walking all up and down the strip for like the last 4 days. So by the time we got to the CES conference, we were so damn tired from walking around Vegas, we could hardly walk. We'd be looking at a few things like, oh, let's go find a chair. I got to sit down. My back and legs are killing me. I mean, we'd get up at like 10 o'clock and we'd go to bed at like 3, 4 in the morning. It was walking all day, down up and down the strip, through casinos, and we'd look at it was funny. We'd look at the casinos and the main floors and stuff, and all of them had arcades at the time. So we were like, oh, we got to find this casino's arcade to see what they have. Um, yeah, it was a fun experience. It was neat. Just seeing Vegas. I don't really have any urge to go again as far as like, yeah, Vegas is all right, but whatever. But the Consumer Electronics Show was, I'm glad I got to at least say that I went. Um, I'm sure it's changed a fair bit since I was there, but I get the vibe of what it is like. So, yeah, Consumer Electronics Show is this week. We're in the middle of that. Starting this weekend, we have Awesome Games Done Quick, AGDQ. Of course, in the summer, we have Summer Games Done Quick. But this is a whole week of where they do speed runnings and they raise money for charity. Usually, it's like either there's like a Prevent Cancer Foundation or Doctors Without Borders. They do some really great things for raising money for charities. I've donated in the past. And it's just really, really fun to see how some of these speedrunners can just absolutely wreck a game. And, I like more of the runs where it's just pure skill and you're going through the game as intended. At first I was like, oh yeah, we get to watch all these first-person shooter runs. Those are some of my least favorite to watch because a lot of the first-person game runs or the 3D games, it's not so much about playing the game fast. It's about, oh, well, let's exploit something where we go out of bounds and we basically skip 90% of the level. So you're looking at weird clipping and seams on the outside of the level and like graphical glitches. Like you're not really playing the game. Like there, don't get me wrong, there is skill in that type of run, but at the same time, I like to see just really precise skill. Like that's why I like a lot of the 2D games because you might have some skips, or you might have some damage boosts, but like they're playing the game. 3D games, again, it's a lot more about just exploiting and skipping vast portions of the game, which again has its cool factor, but no, man, I want to see just mad, like, watching Doom 2016 or Doom Eternal or whatever. No, I want to see some guy just go completely crazy and just annihilate every enemy and do cool jumps and acrobatics and glory kills and, in Doom Eternal's case, using the grappling hook and just wrecking every demon. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see, okay, I jumped on this level and then I clip through the thing and boom, the level's over. That's dumb. That's not my thing. But I'm very curious to see what's going to be in AGDQ. I'm going to have fun watching some of that this next week. So I definitely recommend checking those out. And while we're on the topic of speedrunning and records, I do want to give a shout out to, what is his name? Blue Scooty, I think his name is called. He's been around social media and even mainstream press over the last week. The NES Tetris. I've played Tetris on the channel in various forms, like Tetris Effect and all that. I've always loved Tetris. Tetris is one of my favorite games. It's so great. I think it can basically work for anybody. But the NES version of Tetris was thought to be unbeatable or unbreakable. Like people have done it with bots and things, with AI and that. But people were thinking for the longest time that human reaction times and stuff was just, it was too fast. Like what you had to do to basically get to the kill screen was impossible. But this 13-year-old kid, Blue Scooty, you can just look up like Tetris World or Tetris NES. It's all over social media and YouTube and that. He did it. I watched the full run. It was like 43 minutes, and this was insane. Like there's this weird, like, I forget what they call it, like the some technique you have to use with the D-pad, to be able to do move the pieces fast enough. It's insane. And you're not actually beating the game because there's no real end state. But what happens is the game gets high enough to where, kind of like the kill screen in Pac-Man, if you get a high enough score, if you get far enough in the game, it literally it runs out of memory due to the limitations of the hardware, and the game just freezes. It just breaks. And so that's really as high as you can get. Like I think Pac-Man is like level 255, 256 or something like that. But yeah, Tetris, I forget what level he was on, but yeah, he did it. He was the first human ever to beat the game or break it. And then there was this whole hubbub because there was this stupid reporter from Sky News. I think they were over in Europe somewhere, and they were doing a story on him a little bit. And her whole comment, she got a lot of crap for it online. But she's like, well, yeah, this kid did that, and but why don't you go outside? Go outside for a while. That is not an appropriate life goal. I'm like, shut up, lady. Now, I'm not in favor of. I don't support harassing people online. No matter really what they've done. But yeah, I mean, I will totally take a jab and make fun of her a little bit, but I'm not going to go out and dox her or send hate mail to her. But yeah, that was I guess she's a mom as well. So it's like, really, you have a kid and like they do something that no human has ever done before. He's only 13. It's not a life goal. He just wanted to play some Tetris over holiday break, man. And then the funny thing is, right before that, I saw the clip, and like in the same segment, they're talking about this guy who beat like the youngest player who won this dart tournament. Hello, darts is generally an indoor activity, indoor sport, shall we say? So being all gung ho and supporting a dart player because it's more of a normal sport, or it's it's what old people recognize. That's okay, but God forbid somebody who plays Tetris and does something that cool. Go outside. Do something better with yourself. Like, shut up. You're dumb. So there was that. But then, was it ABC or NBC? They did their own story, and he, like I said, he's been making even the mainstream news. But that was really cool because I forget which news organization it was. But during their segment, they had they brought in Alexei Pajitnov, and oh god, I forget who the other guy was. Sorry, dude, I know who you are. I just went blank. But they brought these two people that were, Alexei Pajitnov, of course, was the creator of Tetris back in Russia. And then the other guy, he brought it to America. I can't even remember his name. But the kid got to meet those two. They did it was like a Zoom call or something they were showing, but like he got to talk to Alexei Pajitnov and the other guy. I mean, that was just a really cool, like, that's how you do it. Support the kid. Don't freaking try to embarrass him on international TV. It's like, oh, go outside and get a life goal. I'm like, okay, whatever. So yeah, shout out to that kid. That's awesome. Because Tetris is awesome and he's cool. And then to wrap up, like I said, we've got AGDQ next week. We do have ATIA toward the end of the month. It's a assistive technology show in Florida. I was there when I lived in Florida. I went a couple years and it was okay, but they don't really have all that much blindness stuff happening, so I don't know that we're really going to get much out of that. They do have there's like some sessions and stuff. You can register for free, which I did through work. And I believe it's on the January 25th and 26th. So you can join a few live sessions, and then they will have some archived sessions that you can watch, I believe, through like the middle of April. So if you want to learn some stuff about some other assistive technology stuff, you might want to go look up ATIA conference and register for their free admittance online, their free online deal. So there's that coming out. We have the Microsoft event next week, the Xbox event next week. We have CSUN, of course, coming up in like March-ish, I believe. That's usually when it is. So we might get some interesting announcements there. I'm curious, again, because of the Apple Vision Pro headset. I wonder if we're going to get around CSUN, if we're going to have some showcases of blindness and low vision type apps that are going to support that platform. I kind of hope we do. I wonder if we're going to get more AI things because, again, everybody in Vision and Be My Eyes and Seeing AI, they're all kind of embracing these AI features. So I wonder if we're going to get more of that trend. I don't know if we're going to get to see more. We're probably going to see more of these multi-line braille displays. Who knows? But those are things that are coming out in the next couple of months. I'm sure we got some surprises. So yeah, it's only not even halfway through January, and there is a lot to talk about. So I think I've done enough rambling. I'm sure there's one or two things that I'm like, oh crap, I should have talked about that. I should have mentioned that. But that's largely what I can think of right now. Maybe I'll do another one of these videos after the Microsoft event, depending on what they announce for Xbox and PC. There's been also rumors that Microsoft is going to release stuff for Switch and other platforms. I've heard anything from Sea of Thieves to Hi-Fi Rush coming to other platforms. I don't know. Again, I'm not going to be these people who releases a video every day and just like there's certain people that are, I'm like, really, every little rumor they have to do an entire video and blab about it for 10 minutes. I'm just going to wait and see what actually happens, and then we'll look at it, or then we'll chat about it. But that is where I think we're going to leave the update video for today. Check out AGDQ, check out some of my past videos, my year in review videos. Plenty more to come. I will be on another video / podcast in early February, so I'll let you know when that happens. And I may have another interesting consulting gig happening this year that I already got contacted about the last couple of days. Unfortunately, I can't say anything more about that, but it does involve accessibility. Maybe game accessibility, maybe even a little bit of VR accessibility. You never know, but that's about all I'm at liberty to say. And yeah, so we're kicking off 2024. We're coming out swinging. So we'll wrap it up here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Give it a like if you did. Follow me on Twitter at BGFH79, twitch.tv/illegally-cited, illegally-cited.com, and right here on YouTube. Until next time, I will chat with everybody again later.